Hi and welcome to Website Design. In today's class we're going to learn what is JavaScript and what it's used for. So as we've seen in our previous lessons, HTML and CSS creates the basic foundation of our website. So HTML together with CSS defines how the text will be displayed to the screen and also what would be the styling of that specific text, meaning will it be a certain color or a font size, etc. But now we have JavaScript, and it's sometimes necessary to incorporate some intelligence into our website, and JavaScript will be used for that purpose. So HTML and CSS can create a very static website, but sometimes it's needed to create a little bit intelligence into our website. For instance, a button that would display the time, or two input boxes so that we can do a addition calculator, something like that. So JavaScript enables us to incorporate intelligence into our website. So let's see how we can do this. So in our HTML file that we created, this was our first basic HTML file. In this HTML file, what we would do is we're going to create a button element, and this button element will be called button. Just want to quickly get everything ready. So button, and it's going to be type button. Okay, and then we're going to close this button tag. Oops. Okay, so now we've got a button that will be displayed to the screen, and then inside the two tags is going to be the text that will be displayed on this button. And when we just click on this button, we're going to say display date and time. So this button will display the date and time for us. So what we will do is we will simulate now our program, or open it in the browser, and you will see there will be a button. This button is clickable, but nothing happens. At the moment we haven't done anything concerning any of intelligence. It's just an element that's clickable. But what we can do is when we click on the button, an event can be triggered, and this event we call onClick. Okay, so when the user clicks this button, there's an onClick event. OnClick event that can be triggered. Okay, and this event can then trigger some JavaScript code. So we can put the JavaScript code there. So there's two places that we can define in this HTML file where our JavaScript can live. Either it can be inline, I like to call it inline, the JavaScript can only live there, or we can also create a specified place in the head tag where our JavaScript code can live. So let's first do it inline. So if it's inline, these one line can become very big. So inline is now, we're going to use an inline JavaScript to go and display the date and the time. But when we display the date and the time, where will we display it? That's always the question. We've got a button when we click on this button, but now we want to display date and time. Where will we put this date and time? And we're going to create a paragraph element that will hold our date and time. But now, as you can see, there's a paragraph element already, and now there's another paragraph element. How do we distinguish between these two paragraph elements? Because we want to now click on this button and we want to say display the date and time inside this paragraph element. So how do we do this? We do this by giving this paragraph tag a ID or a name. So we're going to give this paragraph tag a ID called date time paragraph, date time p. And when the user clicks on the button, then we can go and display the date and the time inside this paragraph tag. And how we would do this is by using the statement document dot get element by ID, and then inside brackets we will define the element ID, and it's date time p, get element by ID dot inner HTML. Now inner HTML is this part of the tag. So between the open and close tags, there's an open and there's a close. Between it is what we call the inner HTML. So this document dot get element by ID date time. So we're working with this tag and the inner HTML. So it's actually this part here. We're working with that inner HTML. And we're going to say the inner HTML of this tag is going to be equal to the date and time at this current moment. So the date and time of this moment we can get by using a built-in function in JavaScript called date. So this function will then be called, and it will give us some string info of the date and time, and we will display it inside the inner HTML of this tag. And that's it. That's the inline code to display the date and time and by using JavaScript coding. Okay, so let's save this and we will see if this actually works. Okay, so if I click on this, it will display the date and the time at this current moment. So as you can see, Sunday, April 12, 2020, 18:45 and 12 seconds GMT +2 South African Standard Time. Okay, so this is inline JavaScript, or what I call inline JavaScript. Now what we can do is we can also create a specified place for this JavaScript code to live. I like to do this for a very good reason, is to split all the JavaScript code into one place, keep it in one place, so all the JavaScript code lives in one place. Because if you create multiple inline JavaScript code, it's sometimes difficult to keep track of where all the JavaScript code is and what they are supposed to do and how they interact. And if all the JavaScript code, all the intelligence is in one place, I can quickly see what's going on in this whole document. So what we do is inside our head tag, we create a tag called script. And the script is our JavaScript. And what we can do in this now script tag is we can put a lot of JavaScript code there. What I always do is to make everything more usable sometimes, and also reusable, is to create functions. So we can then, by using this on-click event, we can call a certain function that will do a certain thing for us. So now it's easy. So what we can do is we can say we create a function, and a function is like a piece of code that we can go and call multiple times. So we're going to call this function get date time. Okay, we're not going to send any parameters to this function. So we've got a function called get date time. And what we will do is all this code here is going to live now inside this function with a semicolon now. And what we're going to do is with this on-click event here on our button, we're going to call this function. So what will happen is when the user clicks on the button, this function will be called, and then this function will run this line of code and display the date and time inside this tag. So let's see if it actually works as it's supposed to. So that's our old program. So we're gonna reopen it in our browser. So if we click, it still displays Sunday, April 12, 2020, and so forth. And this is much better for me. So it's much better to keep track of what's going on everywhere. All the JavaScript code lives in one place. So that's it for me. In the next lesson, we're going to do an addition calculator and understand a little bit more how to work with JavaScript even more. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.